Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, or very early in the middle of the morning for our Aussie friends. I am so happy to see you, blank face and all. Welcome, oh, welcome to my cabin. Everybody scooch inside. I'm inviting you into my cabin for this session, which is kind of a get ready with me. I'm going to attempt to put my face on to do my little skincare, a little abbreviated skincare, my morning routine, while I talk. So while I try and talk. So we'll see how that goes. I've not attempted this before. We'll see what happens. It could get crazy. The only thing I have done ahead of time is put my eyebrows on. I don't think you guys were prepared. I don't think anyone should see that. So that's the only thing I did. Now I know that sounds kind of crazy and like you're going to put your eyebrows on before your skincare, but yes, I am. So good morning and welcome to this session, our very first morning at Camp Reset. Did we all sleep good? Do we feel rested? I did hear about the TP'd cabin last night. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not naming names. I don't want to suggest it was the Camp Thunderhead boys that are guests here, but my girls don't behave that way. My girls don't behave that way. That's all I got to say. As camp director, I can vouch that we've not had a TP'd cabin on this property in all the years of Camp Reset. So just, I don't know, being Nancy Drew here, the first time we ever have a TP'd cabin is also coincidentally the first time we have guest Camp Thunderhead boys. You do the math. So are we ready to talk about self-care? This is not going to be just a skincare session, okay? So for those of you that's not your favorite topic, that will not be our only discussion. And I also want to touch upon the fact that skincare does not equal putting makeup on. What I am here to do is give you a little, I don't know, food for thought, because what I have really come to embrace is the fact that skin is another organ of our body. So it's the largest organ we have, and it's the one that faces all of the environment, the sun, the weather, the pollutants, and it's the one that everyone can see. So we have uh, I guess you could look at it two ways. There are some people who want to try and turn back time, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's some that are just, accepting the aging gracefully. There are some women who are like, I'm gonna battle age. So I'm gonna do my best to battle whatever happens here. I'm one of those women. I do have my limits about what I'm willing to do, but I am one of those women. I love experimenting with different products. I always have, always, always, always. I have since I can remember. Even as a teenager, I was spending my babysitting money on, lotions and potions. There was a drug emporium before they went out of business. I'm surprised I didn't keep them in business. There was a drug emporium in our town, and I used to fill up my basket when I'd go there. And I'm not even kidding. When I got my first job, it's where I spent a good portion of my paycheck. I'm not gonna lie. I just have always loved testing hair products and beauty products. And honestly, I'm really shocked how long it took me to actually learn about skincare, like properly, like understand what ingredients do, that there are certain ingredients that you should look for in certain formulations, and that there's actually proper techniques in the steps that we do, like washing your face properly and those kinds of things. So honestly, I have come very reluctantly to having a routine, and now it has become something I genuinely love. I have been very faithful to it, and then there was a pocket of time last year where I fell out of that routine completely, and I watched myself spiral spiral down into the pit because it became one aspect of my life that once I gave that up, it kind of dragged everything down with it. But I will go into that shortly. So anyway, everybody get comfy. If you brought yourself a little beauty mask to put on, if you have like a little like give yourself a little manicure, if you want to go ahead and gather any of your little goodies. I didn't emphasize like bring beauty supplies or skincare supplies or any of that. I didn't emphasize doing that because I didn't want people to feel like they needed to go out and buy things for this. If you happen to be a girly girl and these are things you already have because that's who you are, then please by all means pull it on out. Historically, from the very first camp that we've ever done, there was a skincare mask challenge. There was a beauty mask challenge, and that just kind of became part of the fun of camp, was doing that and taking a picture. And so this would be a good opportunity for you, if you would like, is to photograph yourself today in whatever little skincare, self-care little activity you choose to do. This is your chance to do that, because today, if you are here, you are earning yourself a badge. You have actually earned your first badge right now in this moment watching me, whether you are watching me in the replay or you are watching me live. You are earning a badge as I speak. So yay! Well done, well done, well done, Scrapbook Scout. So this is your badge day, and that is worth photographing. You can give yourself a little selfie if you want to go ahead and slap a mask on and selfie yourself. This is a fun opportunity to do that. So I wanted to just point that out and remind you that this is one of those times where you want to be adding content to your Scrapbook Scout, and this is how you do it. So today's session is called Rise and Reset. This is a self-care prep talk. See what I did there? So this is about prepping you for the entire camp season. It's not just about today and us having a little sesh in my cabin. This is about thinking in the long term, your entire camp season, because I want you to think of this time building upon the discussion we had in the Planning for Joy workshop. This is about um, developing certain little camp rituals that you're going to take home with you. Okay. So this is the time where we're talking about, it's August 16th today and all the way through September 21st. So that is the period of time that the live portion of camp is happening. Now, if you happen to be watching this as an evergreen camp product that you can do at any time, then you are in charge of however long that calendar is, whatever camp is for you. But during the live portion of camp where we kicked this off, there was a specific time period that camp could be held. So this is your kind of like your testing ground. This is your time to experiment. This is your time to like start building upon little steps, you're building little habits. And that technically is what Camp Reset is. It's a fun way to create self-care habits. It's sort of like I am disguising, disguising in a fun way, building a routine. So I'm getting you to start building little routines of taking care of yourself. And I'm doing it around, wrapping it around this fun camp idea. It's kind of like how when you try and get kids to eat vegetables and you play the little plane game. That's what we're doing here. I'm just going to tell you the truth. So that's what we're doing. And so this is your time to indulge a little more, okay? Because remember, we're putting ourselves first during this season. That's why we came to camp. This is a putting on your mask first situation. So this is where we want to think about, like, what are those little indulgences I can start adding to my day? And I'm kind of framing this around the first thing in the morning or the very end of the day. This is kind of those two little sacred times of the day, because we do spend time getting ready for the day and then ending our day. So those are perfect pockets of time to think about, how can I make that part of my day a little more luxurious? Now, I have other badge challenges that ask you to add little fun things throughout your day, like the charming gestures of the Charm School badge. Those are about adding little fun things throughout the day, for an example. But this is about your time specifically, this is kind of more about your time during the morning and evening, because those are just times where we get ready. So, how can we make that a little more special and a little bit more that feels like a little ritual? Sometimes the word routine does sound kind of meh. So, I feel like ritual is starting to feel like a more special word that feels more luxurious than just saying routine, because just by the very nature of the word, it sounds a little meh. It does. It has a little meh sound to it. So this is where you can really up your me time. And that is us really thinking about our, you know, the oh, that's another thing I wanted to say, that there's actually a badge called there's another badge. It's called the me time, about me time. There's another badge. So consider this your practice for earning another badge. And I think all about me time. That's what it is. It's the little purple badge with the little cute little girl with the face mask on. So this is your like prep for that badge. So this could be a 2-in-1 badge situation. So there are printables for this session. You have this one. These are the handouts, the workshop handouts, and they look like this. So there's a get your skincare on. There's 2 of those. So I made one that looks like my skincare routine, and then there's a blank one, like a template for you. And then there's the get ready with me one that is just sort of a, well, we'll go over it, but those are the 3 printables that are here. And then I wanted to share something with you that's part of the whole setup in the Storyteller Studios, and then specifically about this particular event. And I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen with you. So right now I'm in the Storyteller Studio, which I cannot. Okay, here we go. Is this working? Okay, there we go. So these are all the workshops that are listed in the Storyteller Studio. And I want to be specific, like here's the Storyteller Studio, here's the welcome. And then each of the workshops is set up in here. So there's the first one, the second, third, fourth, so on. So each of them has what I would call like a module. So this is like an overview of each of them. This is not the same thing as the event. This is just the explanation of what's in here. And each of them includes things like if there was any kind of extra information or help that I wanted to include, I put it in here. So here's a spa night Pinterest board with like fun ideas for your own little all about me time challenge. So that could help you, give you ideas. And then here's all the links for some of the products I'm going to talk about. These are my very, very favorite products that I love and have bought multiple times, that I use all the time, or there's a couple new things here that I am obsessed with. And then there's a few videos down here that I really that I used as a couple examples of something I'm going to talk about today. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you, that in each of the modules, there's like extra stuff in here. So this specifically, if you are wondering like where is, where'd you get that? Or there's all this information in here for today's workshop. So don't look in the events calendar. You want to look in the modules. And so here's Storyteller Studio. So there's a resource tab, and then there's the events tab. So the events, this is just for your calendar. And last night, if you recall, I told you that once an event is done, it goes into the past tab. So right there is the example. See how there's already last night's event, and there it is. So they're all going to start being added here, and they disappear from the upcoming. So there's the evidence. So anyway, so that's where we are. We are in this Rise and Reset, and these all stay the same because these are the modules that I'm talking about. All right, that's all I have to say about that. And I am done with that. Got my note cards here because I want to stay on track. So this isn't a beauty session. This is a self-care session. We're caring and nourishing our skin. So I think like high level, I think we should just focus on that. We're just caring for our skin because it's out there. It's living its best life. It's exposed. And you can be simple about, taking care of your skin, but you want to be smart about it too. because there are things, there's products out there. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, you know, the beauty industry is a big one. It's a big monster. And there's a lot of things, a lot of lies, a lot of marketing and lies out there. And so I've learned some tips and tricks from focusing on this particular topic for a few years. And I've learned some things. I've watched a cajillion videos and listened to dermatologists and people who are like estheticians, people who are, more in the professional field of dermatology and doctors. So it's been very educational and learning what ingredients do. And I think that has made a difference in how I look at things. I no longer look at the cool packaging or what's a trendy product line like I used to. I used to be very swayed by marketing promises and the packaging. That used to be what completely guided my buying decisions. And now that is not the case. So I definitely am a person who has invested a lot of research into these things. So that is why I feel like, okay, I can share some of this information and you can do with it what you will. I'm not trying to talk you into having a routine, but I am going to share with you some of the benefits of incorporating some of the skincare ideas. But how you implement that, how much of it you implement is totally up to you, because that is a personal choice of how much you want to invest, how much time you want to do. But I just want to talk about like why it feels good and why it's a good thing to take care of yourself. And it doesn't have to be about beauty standards. It doesn't have to be about, I don't want to spend money on all these things, because there's totally ways in which we're taking care of ourselves. It is not an expensive thing to do. So how do we start our morning? We're starting our morning in care mode. So that can look like a lot of things. It doesn't mean that we race to the bathroom and start our skincare. So care mode, from the time that we're stepping out of bed, how many of us wake up in the morning and we're starting in a hurried fashion because maybe you have a habit of not giving yourself enough time to make getting ready in the morning a calmer experience. And I would say that was pretty much my habit for many, many years. I've lived in, like, let's say when I lived in the Bay Area, which has, everyone knows who lives in the Bay Area, there's a lot of commuting you got to do everywhere you work. There's a commute and lots of traffic. So it's already a stressful experience. Anywhere you go, anywhere you work is about sitting in traffic, commuting, whether you take the train or not. So getting up in the morning never felt like a pleasant thing. It always felt like from the minute you were awake, it was like stressful. And I could have changed so much about that experience had I been willing to just get up earlier. Now that I've compared like the have comparison to like later in my life and just getting up earlier to go to my job. This is before the last job that I had before TRG. I did get up earlier and I did go. I did not have a horrible commute. It was a job that was maybe 3 hours from my where I lived. So that made a big difference, but just getting up earlier so that I could work slower. And I noticed the older I get, the slower I feel like being. One of my aunts, who's like, I think she's like 83, for the last 20 years at least. She is a woman who gets up like at 4 in the morning because she loves to take at least 3 hours to get herself ready. And so she has like an extremely long routine. And so this is like, I believe this might have been before she retired even. So she likes to like have her coffee. She would read her Bible. She would journal. She would just take her time. And she is still very much like that, even more so. Because when she spends the night at my mom's house, she's up at like between 3 and 4 in the morning, and she's in there just quietly going about like this entire elongated routine. So, and it does not matter. She came on the cruise, the TRG cruise. All my aunties but one and my mom came, and she was still doing that same routine up at like 4 in the morning and going through all those steps. So that is like that's the most extreme example I know of somebody in real life who just has a very, very long routine, who's willing to wake up very early for it. That's on the extreme side. So I'm not really sure if that's something that you need in your life. But definitely, considering how much time you need to feel more in the peaceful calm, so that you're in a calm state, instead of a rushed, hurried state. The more we can keep in a nice calm, like start our day in a nice calm situation, isn't that lovely? Wouldn't that be a lovelier way to start, just in general? So it's like, thinking about like what are all the steps I can do to start a calm routine. It doesn't mean that you're obviously not going to go get in your car and go sit in traffic or go commute. I think where we're at now is we have a lot of ladies who are kind of in like heading into the retirement age. And then we have some, we're still working. Some of us might be working more than one job. And then some of us, like myself, I work from home. And although that's very nice that I don't have to go out, I also work longer hours than I've ever worked in my life. So I have a different kind of problem. So my problem is I'm in a sedentary position the majority of the day and for much longer than I ever was before. So I'm in the mode now of trying to figure out, how do I create like an active environment where I'm almost like creating like a circuit around me. Do you remember the woman's fitness? It was it Curves? Is that the name of it? One of the one of the women's fitness chains that developed. Is that the right name of it? One of the things that made them very popular was that they built the way that they built their gym was that they put all the machines like in a circle. So you literally would spend maybe 10 minutes, if I'm recalling correctly, like a certain little short period of time, and you would move from machine to machine to machine in a circuitous way. And by the time you were done, like you were done. And it just felt so doable. So many women were like, I can do that. I can move in this way. And this made Curves, I think it's Curves, totally explode. This was just the sound of it made it feel like that was doable. That felt easy. The fact you would spend so little time on each machine and get this full workout. It probably felt like, oh, and there it was all women. So that was like so appealing to women. And so that concept in my head, I try to create that same environment, like by putting different little things around to create like little pockets of activity. So I have to work harder at it now, creating a more active environment, because that's just that's not the life that I have when I'm trying to, keep a business going. so so that's an aspect of self-care that I have to like be really cognizant of, because at this stage I am learning more and more. There's more talk about mobility and how you are starting to lose your mobility the older you get. And now the Gen X generation is becoming that generation that has spent more time sitting on their butt than any other, because we've been sitting in the office longer. We're the generation that moved into the office, the corporate world, the tech world. We have been the ones that are in the more sedentary life. So we have that. I guess you could use this as like guinea pigs to see like, how are we doing health wise? Not so good. So I've been learning a lot of things about that. Like one burst of like an hour's worth of exercise does not undo all the damage of sitting the rest of the day. So that's a scary little statistic that I learned from listening to several doctors saying this. So it's just very interesting that, self-care looks like you're taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, your brain health, your heart health. There's so many different aspects of it. So when I'm talking about, just our skin, to me, this is like an indulgent, special little part of the day that can feel very luxurious. And for me, it's about, being in a nice, calm, enjoying yourself. And um, it's where I never spent time before. And now it's the little pocket that I enjoy so much. And so if there's anything that I can share in that area and encourage you to fit maybe a few little things maybe you didn't think about before, this could make that part of your day very enjoyable and you take those little habits home with you. So this is the part of, what kind of steps would you like in your ideal morning routine? So this is something I would encourage you to write down. If you had an ideal morning routine, what would it look like? Would it be less hurried and more, slower? Would you have time to make a special, drink? What would it look like? I would encourage you to grab, like a little notepad if you have notes that you want to add to your um the printables. The printables, you can jot this on the daily dashboard, that we're doing today. Do I have them in here? Do not have my daily dashboard here. On the daily dashboard that I gave you guys, there's a little section it's blank. You could jot down this note that we're taking right now. Let me grab it really fast. Okay, they're in the bottom of my pile. Okay, so this is what the daily dashboards look like. And so you could use this as your, sorry, this one was pre-filled out for you. So you can use this one for Saturday. Today's Saturday. You could use that for your note taking today. This little section right here if you wanted to. So my face is so warm right now. So when you think about your ideal routine, take some notes during our session of what you would build if it was up to you, what your morning would look like. Starting with like how you get ready in the morning. What does that look like? Sometimes there's little areas that cause time wasting that could be solved by doing some steps the night before. One thing that I remember was, choosing your outfit. There's a lot of time wasting in that, depending on how you dress, how much accessories you're putting on or choosing. Decision fatigue is real. So choosing your outfits the night before, putting them out, that can alleviate an entire step. So whatever you can do at night to prepare for the next day, prepping your lunch, all of those things makes the next morning go so much smoother. So that can be a um, a much more pleasant morning because what we're trying to do is build a nice, easy, calmer morning for you. So what so in terms of like the skincare habit, so I didn't used to have one, and this was part of like really bad habits that I had for a really long time, and it came from laziness primarily. So even though I had so much investment in buying things, I didn't really understand like some really fundamentals. So I would buy stuff, but then I didn't have good skin. So one thing that I did for a long time is here's how I segued into being more of somebody who really, really cared about taking care of myself in that way. And this happened in like my early 40s. So that's how long I was just kind of like buying stuff and kind of slapping things on and again, all about marketing and promises, but not really understanding like what I was buying and did it even have ingredients in there that actually did anything? It was just, it was ignorance, really. I never used sunscreen. I was not using anything like, when I think back, I was not really using effective products, and I was always unhappy with my skin, always. But I feel very differently now. Like right now, even though my face is super red because I'm so I think it's because, I'm on camera right now and I always get very whew, I'm always get flushed when I come on camera, and usually it's not as obvious because I have makeup on. But I would not normally, like, be willing to go, to be barefaced on camera, so, I think I feel better about myself, even though I've gotten older. Um, I can still see my skin, like, it's still rather plump, like, it still has bounce in it. I'm still, like, I feel like the stuff that I'm doing is still I the quality of my skin, I feel like what the steps I'm doing is reflective of, like, how well it still looks for my age. So, that tells me to keep it up. It's worth it. So, one of the terrible habits I had is when they came out with makeup wipes. I thought this was the greatest thing ever. I don't honestly think that I used cotton balls and some kind of like makeup remover or astringent or something to remove everything beforehand. But makeup wipes, in my opinion, was like washing your face. So I would just completely wipe everything off and then my face was clean. I always would get in the shower after doing that, and I probably I don't know, I'm assuming I did some kind of cleanser in the shower, but if I didn't, I would just call that clean. Like, there were nights where I would just take it all off and be like, "I'm done." Um, and that's really interesting when I look back at that now because my skin was not clean, but I would go to bed like that all the time. And sometimes I would dab on moisturizer and think that was my skincare routine. That is what I used to do for so long. I did not do anything else to my skin, and then I would wonder why my skin never looked good. It always it never looked good. So in the morning, I would wake up and I would not wash my face. I believe I put something on, I can't remember exactly, like, I would wipe it with some kind of, like, a not an astringent, but something along those lines. I can't remember what product it was, and then I would put moisturizer on again, and then put my makeup on, and that was all that I did, and that that was it. Um, when I think back, the only other thing I can think of is I would use a face scrub, which I would never recommend today, but I would use a face scrub every now and then, which was not ever effective. I would still have dead skin around my nose and on my chin because those are physical exfoliators and they're not effective and they actually damage your little epidermis. They damage the little surface area. They're not the most effective, but they've been around for a really long time. I mean, a lot of us grew up with, like, the St. Ives scrub, there's another scrub that we grew up Freeman's. So, we're used to them, I think, as Gen Xers, because that's what all that we had, but now there's so many other better ways to exfoliate your skin, which is like a chemical exfoliator, which works so much better. You use them way less frequently, and they get those little dead skin cells off because your skin is shedding dead skin cells. Washcloths, using a washcloth frequently to, wipe your face, which I'm going to talk about in a second. That's another form of like a physical exfoliator, and that's what I use. But I do love a chemical exfoliator, even though it stings a little, it's a good sting because it's taking things off. So once I started looking at what I was doing, I don't know what happened. It clicked off in my head that I didn't want to keep buying makeup wipes, and I felt like I was throwing so many of them away. And it just occurred to me, like, I just don't really feel like my skin is getting clean. And I thought about, like, the washing my face. Why do I not like washing my face? What is it about it that I don't like? And it was the mess of it. Trying to splash all the water to get it all off. I felt like the water would run down my arms, all over the sink. It was so unpleasant washing and then trying to do this. Now, I do not know. I feel so silly now, But I don't know if it's from us watching commercials, because the one commercial I can think of was the Noxzema commercial with the girl with the white headband, and she'd splash it off her face, which I'm sorry, that's not how you get Noxzema off your face. Any of us can tell you right now, Noxzema doesn't come off because you splash your face. But yes, the mess is terrible. It made washing my face the thing I hated the most. So that is what I finally had this epiphany, is like, that's why I don't like doing it. And then it occurred to me, what if I used a washcloth? So one night I washed my face and then I took my washcloth and I soaked it really good. And I used that as one giant facial wipe and helped take all the residue off. And then I rinsed it and I did it again. And my face felt so wonderful. And I used a special washcloth. So I used a microfleece washcloth. It was like a baby facial cleanser washcloth. They I have one right here. So they make these new type of facial cloths. They're kind of like, in fact, you can use it as a makeup remover without using any soap, actually, is how they're manufactured. I don't use it that way, but I have maybe 12 of these. I linked them in the thing. Um, this was the game changer. This changed everything. This is how having a washed face becomes possible, and taking it off. So I wash my face every morning and evening because of this. How amazing was adding a washcloth to my routine. Now, this is a really special soft one, so it makes it more, it feels more luxurious, and my face feels like it's getting everything off, and then I move on to the next step. So this was the answer. I finally discovered what the problem was, and then I looked for the solution, and finding something that felt like I was upping my skincare game. Like, it's not just one of those, rough terry cloth, washcloth. It's something special that's manufactured for a particular job. So it was wonderful. I ditched all the makeup removers, all of those products. So the thing that I do now, which over time I learned the Korean skincare routine, which has like 10 steps in it. One of the first steps that they do is they do a oil cleansing or makeup cleansing, removing cleansing step. They tend to make a lot of oil or oil balm kind of removers. If you don't have any interest in those type of removers, the American products, uh, the American products have, some of the companies have tried to replicate those kind of Korean products. They've rushed to duplicate them because they saw how popular the Korean products became in our marketplace. But there's some very standard products that have been around for, like, Pond's cold cream has been around over 100 years. A lot of women love that for removing their makeup. Um, I linked it in my with my links. But as far as this is concerned, I have used this for maybe the last 3-4 years. So this is the one I really love. It's this deep cleanser, and it just takes all of your mascara, including waterproof, and your the wax I put in my eyebrows, the whole 9 yards. It takes it all off. It just, everything comes off. And the one thing that you're also taking off in the step is your sunscreen, because that should be something you're putting on every morning. If nothing else you're putting on your face, there should be sunscreen, and that residue needs to come off. So this is another product that I really like. And one of the things that they do in the Korean marketplace is they do a lot of refill pouches. So this is the one, I just replaced it with this particular, this is their other version of it. I like this one better, but they didn't have it with the pouches. So I had to go with this one, or sorry, that one. But that one is my favorite of all the oil cleansers. It's probably on the most inexpensive side compared to them. But again, I like that feeling, the oil cleanser. I like that feeling more than I like the Pond's cold cream, but I'll take Pond's for the price point if I can't get any of the others. The oil cleansers are on the more spendy side. I think I don't know what's going on, but a lot of the skincare products are going up in price. I don't know if it's the tariff situation or what's happening, but as soon as I see something go on sale that I love, I do tend to like grab two because I think things could continue on this trend. But the oils are my favorite. The other thing I love with doing with this oil is using it as a gua sha type of oils because it's cheaper than using like a facial oil. So that's another little extra cool thing that that it does. So that's one of the steps that I love doing is taking off my makeup with those oil cleansers. So then I go in there and wash. The second step is a good wash. So that's how I kind of solved that whole problem is taking it off with oil, washing with a moisturizing cleanser, and my skin feels like $1,000,000 and I'm just so happy with it. So that is what I have been doing for quite a while. It makes me feel like I'm nourishing my skin. It just feels the oil makes your skin feel so soft and just so yummy after you're done. I love it. So that is how that entire habit got built. And then everything else I do around it, is about, continuing the nourishment program. So the other thing I learned in my little process over the last few years is that posture makes a big difference as well. And when I say posture, I don't mean the way that you sit. I mean the way that you like approach the your whole process. So for many years, a lot of us tend to stand at our bathroom counters to do our makeup. And when I think of how that feels, it feels like you're in this rushed hurry. There's like an urgency of standing at the counter. And I don't know if it's because like part of it is like growing up, I remember my mom always clattering her makeup in a really fast way. She always felt like she was quickly getting ready for work. And then I ended up doing that same thing for many years as I was always feeling very rushed. When I moved into my apartment right before my very last apartment I lived in, I got this apartment was like a mid-century type of apartment. And it was built with this lovely long bathroom counter that you could sit at like a vanity. And I'd never had that before. And it was amazing. So I got to sit every morning and do my face. And it made such a difference. All of a sudden, I was going in, I was making my little protein smoothie, and then I would sit down and do my makeup. I would put on I think I would put on like the Bay Area news because I'd moved to Washington and listening to the Bay Area news made me feel closer to my family. And then I would do my face. So it was so lovely and it just completely changed my posture. It completely changed how it felt. I was not in a rush. I was sitting. It felt like this very elegant experience just because I happened to be sitting down, like I was sitting at a dressing table. So, if that is even possible, for you to try to experiment to see what you could do, is sitting at a table of some kind, is like just give it a try to see if that's something you can do. I would highly recommend it. Give it a try and just see what I'm talking about. It can feel like just sitting and doing that can already feel like I'm it's a more luxurious experience. I'm not in a hurry. But make sure to give yourself the time so you're not not actually in a hurry. Maybe it's something you do on Saturdays and Sundays. Maybe that's your weekend ritual is now you go sit and do your face. Like treat that differently than your work routine. So that like that's your work routine, but on the weekends you now have a weekend ritual. And maybe that's what you do during your camp season is you have something different. Maybe you get yourself a cart and you move that cart to where you have seating somewhere you can sit by a window. A window's lovely because then you can use a mirror, and especially when you get a magnifying mirror, then you can see everything you need to tweeze. You know what I'm talking about. But you can see all the things and that you need to see. And put your makeup on, in daylight, which can be a little a little frightening. But helpful, but helpful. So, you especially doing a double check, make sure you got everything blended. But, that can work. It doesn't you don't have to get a proper lit vanity or anything like that, 'cause but just some kind of tabletop, but moving something somewhere so that you can sit. Maybe you just try that on the weekend. So this is about building a little something that's more luxe, something that's more of a special experience during camp, and seeing if that's a little part of your ritual that you want to take with you when you go home. Does that make sense? Because um I think that can make a really big difference, especially because we're going into the fall season, and already fall just has such a lovely feel. It's the perfect season for romanticizing your life because it's a cozy season. So already, like, you're prepping for cozy season, romanticizing your life. So these are good little, like, experiments to try. Do you like this? Ooh, I like this. I think I want to keep this one. So on weekends, I'm going to do this. So maybe you just try these things on weekends when you're not in a rush or hurry and trying to get to your work or doing things that you have to do with the kids. Maybe this is the thing that you carve out for yourself that gives you a chance to see, do I like this? So kind of think of it as like, I'm going to experiment with these, building a little ritual. So, oop, so making having a different posture made a difference, and then putting on, like, creating a little ambiance with that whole thing. So this morning when I was sitting here, I was listening to morning jazz with Snoopy. There is the cutest channel on YouTube. It's Snoopy every day. And he's doing different things, but morning jazz with Snoopy. I didn't have what did I have? Oh, I had my protein drink, and I did my eyebrows and I worked on my notes. But ordinarily, I could be sitting in here with Snoopy and doing my makeup. So this could be like building a little ambiance around you. So, like, gearing up your playlist on your phone. It's really easy to create like a little playlist on your YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube account, you can build a little playlist for yourself. You can even call it my morning routine, and you can get that all set up, turn it on. It's very easy to do. You can have a special little candle if you want one to create fragrance. So I have my favorite fragrance in the world, the vanilla tobacco, which I found out there's a seller on Amazon who has vanilla tobacco candles, and they're the same price that they are at Home Goods and TJ Maxx, and they're on sale on top of it. So I got 2 on the way. They're going to be here on Monday. I am so excited. I can't even, because there's been a whole season where I couldn't even find those at TJ Maxx. There's something magical about vanilla tobacco to me. It just smells amazing. So I have never given up the search. I've never given up hope that that smell will come back. Somebody will give it. So that one, that one I was so happy to find. So I linked that in case you happen to love vanilla tobacco too. So I ordered myself 2 more candles so I can keep up that delicious little smell in here, because I love. Um, let's see. So morning jazz with Snoopy. Maybe for you, it's something else. Maybe you love a different kind of playlist. Maybe you want to have something that's energetic, or maybe you want to have some little salsa music when when you get ready. You get to set the mood. You can make it lo-fi. You can make it 80s music. You can make it soft classical. You can put worship music on. You are the DJ of your space. So you can listen to whatever you want, but it does tend to create ambiance. And that is a very simple thing to do. You can be done in less than a minute getting all of that set up. Get your drink, whatever it is that you like to drink. That might be something you could even prep in at night so that you can just grab it from the refrigerator and go. Unless it's coffee and you like it hot, that's something obviously you probably have a routine for. Most coffee drinkers do. So what I learned from last year, I learned, we were staying in an area that was blistering hot during the summer. It was like 110 plus degrees day after day for weeks on end. It was the most miserable experience we've had since we've lived in this RV. I um we because of how hot it was, the air conditioners in RVs are just they're horrible. They cannot keep up with heat of that magnitude. So we had to buy an extra air conditioner, and which is not powerful enough to air condition such a large space. So I was needed to spend all my time up front in a smaller enclosed space with Mark. So I'm not complaining about that. And I had to bring all my skincare, like all my skincare, which is stored in my cabinet right here. This is my skincare cabinet. I had to bring it all up front too, because it needed to be in the coolest part of the house. It can't stay back here where it gets over 100 degrees back here, because skincare does tend to need to be in a temperate temperature. So the heat just sucked the life out of me. I had no interest in anything. That's why we didn't have camp. I had lost my will. I became a husk. So my skincare routine fell apart, and I noticed that I just started spiraling down, just down. I was so depressed. I hated living there. It was so hot and miserable. I didn't want to do anything. I was literally just laying there day after day. I'd go get my little sundress wet in the shower and then lay in front of the fan every day because it was too hot to do anything. I've never lived anywhere that was so hot. I'm a person that cannot tolerate heat. It just sucks the life out of me. So everything just fell apart. That routine just went by the wayside, and it's like I gave up on everything. I gave up on just taking care of myself in general. So now I have a comparison of what happens when all of that just falls apart. And then now, when I am like nourishing and taking care of myself and being more mindful, like really engaged, like I completely disengaged from the entire process. And now I am mindfully trying to, like, I have my routine back, and I'm trying now to get my health on track, making all the doctor's appointments, being completely engaged and trying to get myself feeling as good as possible. So it is a huge difference in how I can see myself, how I operated, how I felt. I was just going through the motions every day. So I don't want to be that version of myself. And if that's how you feel, I don't want that to be the version of yourself either, because there's a better version of you. And sometimes what it takes is building little steps to get you to take the bigger steps, because just when you feel a little bit better, maybe it's better sleep that you're getting. Maybe it's going for walks that make you feel a little more energetic. Walks give you those little happy endorphins. Obviously, if it's too hot outside, walking indoors is better. Those little steps make a big difference. Marcus just reminded me that I have 30 minutes left. Just in time. Okay, so I'm going to start my little process. I might, obviously, being what time it is, I might actually obviously be going a little late. So I'm using my first step. Let's just pretend I already did my massage to my face, because I wasn't planning on doing that anyway. The first step that I tend to do is my essence step. So the essence is my favorite skincare product, and I have two of them that I absolutely adore. And they're both linked on my list. I have a brand new bottle of one of them. This might be familiar to those of you who've come to camp in the last few camps, because I've shared this one. It's the vegan kombucha tea essence by Dr. Cori. So I love these milky essences. They are so scrumptious. And so you see how it's all separated right now? Well, you shake it up and it gets all creamy and like a mocha. It's so yummy. This is the one I use in the evening time, and I have gone through probably, this is my fifth bottle. So it keeps going up in price, but what happens is on Prime Day and Black Friday, it totally drops in price. So I've bought it as cheap as $13. I got this time on Prime Day. I got it for, I want to say I got it for $15. So I wait till Prime Day or Black Friday to buy them. And I think next time I'm going to buy two. Usually when it's sealed up, the shelf life of skincare is about 2 years. If you check the little labels, which I do when I first get it, I'll check. And it's usually 2 years. Unopened is the shelf life, where they say all the ingredients are going to be. So that's what I tend to do is I'll stock up on my very favorites because I want that really good sale. The other essence is this one, which I just tried recently. This one is amazing. It's so thick and creamy, milky. I have a little bit to show you. So it's like it's there. So an essence is like it's an essence slash toner. So this is a Korean skincare product. This isn't something that we ever had in our arsenal. Although the American companies are starting to produce them. When we think of toners, we think of things like that are more like astringents, and these are not like that. These are way more like, I call them juicy. They make your skin very juicy, and I press them into the skin. You'll notice I'm not using a cotton ball because they're not meant to, like, you're not wiping oil off your face with them. They're literally something you want to press into your skin. It's kind of like almost like a very liquidy moisturizer. But what they do is they prep your skin for all your skincare. They make the rest of your serums, the rest of your products sink in a little better. That is what I have heard multiple little experts say, that's what the point of them. And then I have a peptide serum. This has all the little peptides. It's got like, I don't know, 10 different peptides, including copper. Copper peptide is one of my favorite ingredients because it's the one that makes your skin bouncy. Normally, I would wait a little longer for each of the little layers to kind of dry a little more. And then usually if I have stuff on my hands, I'll rub it on the backs of my hands or on my arms because I can always use skincare on my poor little sun-damaged arms, the little freckly arms that I have. So that's where the extra will go there. And then while that is drying down, I'm going to put on my eye cream. I'm putting on the tiniest little amount. I don't usually use eye cream, but I was trying to see if I could minimize these little dark shadows I have here. And this particular one from Rock says that it minimizes the shadows because it has this ingredient, which I forget the name of it. I think it's hydroquinone. Maybe it's not. I think that particular ingredient got banned in our products. I can't remember now. I'm going to see if it makes any difference. If it doesn't, I'm done. I'm done with these little marketing scams. So that's on. And then vitamin C. You can watch this. This is on YouTube, and we did that on purpose so that you could watch this on TV. It's just not a public video. This is my vitamin C. This is a yummy. This one smells really good. It smells like oranges. Kelly says, my husband just asked why I'm doing a face mask to go clean the garage and work on our deck build. Okay. So I got that. I got this. Dry. And then what I use as a sunscreen is actually a matte tinted moisturizer, and it has SPF 45. I like a 45 or 50 for my SPF. I really encourage everybody to be putting on sunscreen. Even if I'm indoors, which I am, there's windows. Anywhere there's windows, the sun is shining in. So even if you're sitting inside, often have to like go outside to go get in your car. And also, if you're a commuter, put sunscreen on the backs of your hands because you're sitting there with your little hands exposed. Sunspots are one of those things that get on our hands. Remember, preventative care is better than trying to manage it after the fact. Okay. Actually, that was something I learned from watching a lot of the videos from professional dermatologists and the doctors. They said a lot of the things that women come to us later in life for, a lot of the services that we do, they wouldn't have to if they'd been wearing sunscreen earlier in life. So that was a kind of a wake up call to me. Made me feel like, dang, I wish I'd been doing it sooner. But I'm always on my daughter about it. Wear your sunscreen. Are you wearing sunscreen? Every time she sends me a picture, are you wearing sunscreen in this picture? Especially when she sends me pictures of her out on the lake. You got your sunscreen on? Okay, so press. So I really, really like this matte moisturizing SPF. Okay, so now we're going into the my face, and then this is my holy grail product. This is another favorite. This is a really refreshing prep setting spray. So most setting sprays that I have tried, they smell like hairspray and they have a sticky feel. It feels like you're putting hairspray on your face. This feels like you're putting water on your face, and it feels really good. This is probably I'm subscribed to this on Amazon. This is probably the 6th time I've bought it. I have gone through so many bottles. I love, 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 love this stuff. It just feels like water. It's all it does. But it helps everything meld together. It sets your makeup. My makeup looks like at night when I go to take it off, everything is still set. My eyeliner is still there. Everything's intact. I'm always so impressed with how good it looks. So even though I have a lot of steps on my list, I actually does not take me very long. I use a BB cream as I'm using the computer screen as my mirror. That's not what I should be doing. I use a BB cream. I don't really like using foundations. I noticed that they are getting there's more and more skincare products for men in the marketplace now. You know, the moisturizers, the cleansers, all the things. Right? So many of us do remember that, buying baby oil to sunbathe. Yes. I remember that too. Not that I did that, but I remember that like my babysitters all doing that when I was a kid, like the cocoa butter, just like things that had no SPF. I remember my mom had a bottle of SPF 2. Like, what's the point? What is the point of this? Okay, so here, this is on my list. This is one of my absolute favorite products ever. This is Catrice's under eye brightener, and I highly recommend. Ooh, look, I'm a beauty YouTuber. There we go. Catrice under eye brightener. This one is the bomb. So I linked this one. I absolutely love this. This little eye brightener is kind of like a pinky color. If you have a deeper skin tone, you want to look for something that is more like peach or salmon, like a deeper peach. This one's a little on the light side. This is probably one of the best products I've ever used for lightening the under eye area. And I'm going to show you, I use it with a brush that is magic. The best brush for concealer products I've ever used in my life. It's on sale right now. So I have it on my eye, like my upper eyelid, because I have a lot of discoloration on my eyelid. and in the corners. I'm going to look so rested and fresh-eyed in about a minute. So this little brush is a little fluffy tipped brush. It's like a mini setting powder brush, and it's magical. It helps the product like set without it, and like it moves it around. The product doesn't soak into it. So if you have like discoloration on your eyelids, because that's something that seems to happen to us as we get older. I don't know if it's like a hormonal change from, but that, like, even if you don't wear makeup and just putting on a little bit of under eye brightener can really make your look just more bright and alive, and your eyes will just look more rested and more youthful looking. That alone, if you do nothing else, that can just make a big difference. In the bottom part of my eye, there's this MAC product. Now I'm just trying to use this up at this point, but the MAC paint pots, this is Painterly. This is probably their most popular shade. It's just like a mattifying, it's a creamy like eyeshadow base. So kind of like mattifying my eyes, just makes everything okay. So the BB creams came out quite a while ago, and what they are, oh, this one actually has SPF in it. These were marketed as something that has skincare ingredients in it, and it does a lot of things. So it's not really a foundation. It has like moisturizing properties. It has like, they'll say it has like blurring effects. It's kind of like a primer. It's kind of like, it has like it's like a multifunctional product. So it's, if you do not like foundations, this feels a little bit more like a moisturizer you're putting on, but it gives you a little bit of like coverage without it being makeup-y, because you can absolutely see your skin. And I like to see my skin through my, through whatever I put on. I don't really like foundation. Putting on that. And then Catherine says, I can't live without MAC Painterly. It just really brightens up your eyes. Like already I look more awake. My eyes already look brighter and happier. So this is the Laura Geller, the Balance Brighten. It has a Balance Brighten Glow. It's like a powder foundation. I'm kind of like what do you call this technique? I forget what you call this. This thing I'm doing. Come on, girls, help me out. Lisa says, I believe BB stands for Beauty Mom. Thank you very much. I couldn't remember. Now they have CC creams, so they've upped it. Karen says, I use Laura Geller makeup. Laura Geller is always really good at Prime Day and Black Friday, having the best sales on their makeup. Like, that's why I got this. It was like $20 for the palette, and I got it to, I mean, it's going to take me forever to go through it. They have really, their formulas and the stuff that they have, they really try to do that kind of like more skin enhancing makeup, like they're trying to get you to look more like glowy and more I don't know how to say this. Their color palettes and their shades, they're just trying to enhance your skin. They're not trying to like give you like they're not trying to give you fashion shades on your face. They're just trying to give you more natural, glowy looking, a glowy face. So Laura Geller actually has some really great options if you want to try a lighter type of makeup that's more on the natural side. And then I'm doing a little bit of blush. I wasn't planning on doing all of my makeup on camera. I was very torn on how to do all of this. Like, how do I talk about skincare and then not be able to do my makeup? However, I have been asked questions over the years about stuff that I have on my face. So I think this will answer some of the questions. And I can show you a couple little tricks because once we get to a certain age, there are certain things that start to change on our face. And I learned some things that could help with that. Okay. I know I put my sunscreen on. I'm like, did I put my sunscreen on after saying all that about sunscreen? Okay. So all that's all settled in. Like I said, I'd already done my eyebrows. And I'm just doing brightening up under my little eyebrows and on my eyelids really fast. Really, really quick. I have a really simple routine and it's kind of daytime anyway, so I don't really wear a lot of stuff. How are we doing? Exactly, Misty, that's a very good point. I have the same brushes for the last, I don't know, some of my brushes are, I have one that's like 10 years old. Some of mine are like 5 to 6 years old. Washing your brushes will make them last longer. First of all, buying like a decent brush, it doesn't have to be expensive, but buying a decent brush. Real Techniques actually makes really good brushes and they're a drugstore brand, but washing them is a really important step. I actually wash them with Dawn dish soap because it's so good at breaking up oil. And that is what can happen to your brushes. They can get oily because your skin does have skin oils and bacteria. So I give them a good bath in a little bit of warm water, and I have a little tool which is back there that I put on my hand, and it's got little nubs on it that I rub against the brush bristles so it helps break everything up. I rinse it under the warm water and then I dry them with the bristles down. You do not want to wash your brushes and have the bristles upright because the water will seep down into the ferrule where the glue is holding the brush and the handle together, and that will loosen it and it'll eventually separate. So you want to make sure you always have your brushes going downward. And then I usually put them in front of a window or a fan so that they can dry. But clean brushes are happy brushes and they'll last a lot longer when you take care of them. So this is one of my tricks. I don't use regular eyeliner. I use a little angled brush and I use eyeshadow. This works better than eyeliner for me. I like it better. I just tap it into the root. I tight line, so I go up under the lash line and then on top at the root, and it makes a little tight, little sharp little line. Thank you, Misty, for reminding me. That is a very excellent safety tip. And then spray, spray, spray. So even though I have a lot of steps on my little list, it actually doesn't take me very long to do it. I'm kind of rushing a little bit, but I would say if I was just doing it at normal pace, I would be done with my skincare and my makeup in probably about 20, 25 minutes. So it can look like a lot of steps, but it doesn't actually take very long to get everything. And then I use a clean little angled brush to kind of like smoosh any of the concealer and like clean up that area. And I love using this spray. This is why I go through it so fast, because it, like I said, it sets and it feels like water. So I know it looks like I'm crazy spraying so much of it on, but it feels so delightful. So there is my eyes, and then I do a lip liner, and then this is how so you'll see that like my lips are angled straight down like little triangles. I round out my lips more with the pencil so that I'm getting them in a more rounded shape. And the pencil color is very close to my natural lip color. And now I am filling in this little Cupid's bow to make the top lip more round. Another fun fact of aging is, our lips get a little thinner as we get older. And then I bring that lip line a little lower than my lip line, but my lip actually goes lower than that line. Like how you have a lip color, but your lip, at least mine does. My lip is actually wider than where the lip line is. I did not realize that until I learned this trick. So I line it, and then right here is when I'm coloring in and making a shadow on the inside. So that gives the appearance of this being much lighter in the center and darker on the inner corners of your lips. And then I'm using a product. I love shiny products, so things that make my lips look more glossy, which makes them look fuller. I love NYX. That's one of my favorite lip products, NYX and Elf. This one is their fat oil. So a lot of lip products on the market now have kind of duplicated the Korean lip products. So there's a lot of oils, jellies, words that sound very luscious and juicy. They are luscious and juicy. So inherently very shiny and yummy. And then I do curl my lashes. I use this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful eyelash serum, which I linked, that gives me the longest lashes I've ever had in my life, even longer than when I was younger. And it uses all the ingredients look like they're more like fruit oils and stuff. There's no, the very harmful ingredient that tends to be in a lot of the lash serums does not show up in this particular product, which made me very happy. It's about $25 and it lasts about 3 months. So the thing I love about using lip liner for is if you are a gloss girl like I am, I like a lot of glosses and more shiny things. Those type of products do tend to wear off faster, and I don't like lipstick anymore. So a lip liner gives you something for the gloss to grip to. It gives you depth, so it looks like your lip. So it's giving you that appearance of your lips looking fuller. And when the gloss eventually starts to wear off, there's still color on your lips. So I'm just putting it, in a certain area around. So I end up liking that a lot. So there is that. And then this whole little tote that I have goes away. So there's that. So I did a get ready with me. So this mascara is another, I don't think I linked this one, but I want to sing its praises nonetheless. This is the e.l.f. Lash Extender. If you are intimidated by mascara or are looking for a new mascara, this one I am so smitten with. They actually mailed this to me for free. That's how I was introduced to it. I have no idea how I got on their list to get a free product. It was just sent to me like I was just on their mailing list. Probably because I've ordered off their website in the past. That's probably what I'm thinking, because I have ordered directly from their website, which you can, elf.com. And then I've repurchased this. Actually, I am subscribed to this on Amazon, so that that's a winner when I'm subscribed. I love this stuff. It is a drier formula, so when you pull it out, there's not all this like goo all over the brush. The bristles are rubber and they're short, so it makes it really easy to apply. And if you are a little nervous about mascara, it's not one of your favorite products, it's a lot easier to put on. So this is this is one of my favorite, and it's very buildable. So I am super happy with that. I love, love, love. Um, yeah, that is why I didn't want to buy any of the expensive serums for eyelashes because they are super expensive. The one I use, the V Beauty, is $25. So the results I've had is just amazing. And I can tell, like, I did stop using it for during the summer where all my skincare fell away and my lashes started getting really short, and I did not realize how much a difference the serum made. So I've been using that particular serum for probably 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And I cannot say enough good things about it, especially because it has more natural ingredients in it. So it is very, very budget friendly if you want to give it a try. Some of the serums are so expensive. I can't imagine spending like one of them I think is over $100. And I just think how much better is that serum? Like what is in it? Like there's some women that use castor oil on their lashes and they're perfectly happy with them. So I would just be curious, if you used castor oil on one, for instance, and an expensive serum on the other, would you see that big of a difference between them? Because I think sometimes it's about, it's the marketing of a product that that justifies the cost of things. So obviously, but yeah, there's a reason why certain brands are, they can have excellent products in their line for sure. Um, so anyway, that is my little routine. And I developed that over time because I absolutely love all my little steps. Now, at night, I have a whole other routine and I use other products because I, I love all the things. And some of the products I use work better at night. And then I do my routine right after the shower. So I do that evening routine standing up in the bathroom. So all my stuff is in there. This is my morning session. The morning session is in here. So, um, certainly, I'm not suggesting that you need to have a bunch of skincare in your routine, but I did want you to think about how can you make whatever it is you do feel more luxurious or be more enjoyable, especially if that's something that you rush through. Can you make that be something a little more fun, a little more just more of an investment for yourself. Maybe you add something to that experience, even if you are someone who's like, oh, I just use one product and then I'm good. So maybe you're a person that might want to add one extra step. Maybe you need to get yourself a nice sunscreen. Maybe you need to consider, like, maybe I uh, build another aspect of my morning routine that has some aspect of luxury to it. Like I have a really good tea or a nice coffee, or I have some nice music during this aspect of time. Whatever you're doing that just makes your morning feel like routine, what can you do to make it feel a little more special? Because this part of my morning was just routine. Like for many, many years, this was just a routine. It was just about getting up, going, getting my face on, going to work. And so morning after morning of just routine. And now there's a looking forward to this. It's the best part of the day because the rest of my day I know is going to be all about like work, 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 and working through problems and getting, there's going to be so many things I'm going to have to do. There's so many have to do's. But I know that the way my day starts, it feels like little luxuries. It feels like so lovely. It's the pocket of my day that I control, and I have this lovely little luxury experience. And I totally get those of you that have to leave for work. So what I'm suggesting is that it be something that you do when you're, having your weekend. So maybe in the weekend, you start practicing that time where you're trying the new things so that you're not rushed to go off anywhere and you can have this dedicated time to test, test for like, what else can I add? My all the links for the products that I love are listed in the module, including the serum that I mentioned. And Misty, there's a lot of opinion that red light therapy does work, especially for skin issues. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that have talked about that convinced me that that was worth investing in. A lot of people who have different skin issues saw a lot of help. I mean, there's people that use it in their therapy for different conditions, even muscular issues. So it's used in like actual medical therapy. So not just, the outer skin, but like interior issues too. So if you go to I don't want to say it because I don't think I'm pronouncing the brand name correctly, but if you go into the module for this video, there is all the links and the eyelash serum is listed and the link for it and all of it. So thanks, Miss Kelly. In the module for this video, at the beginning, I did a little show and tell of where you can find it. So all of my workshops, if you go into the Storyteller Studio, there's a whole list of all the modules and then the events. So there's 2 tabs. One says resources, I believe, and the other says events. So there's a matching module for each one, and that's where I tucked in things that you need to be reminded of, like which printable goes with what workshop. There might be links, there might be shopping links, there might be extra resources for you that I thought might be helpful or inspirational. So even if the event, goes away or is off the main screen, you still have all of the stuff I built for you there, kind of like a library. So the Storyteller Studio is like, it's very much like the Homemaker Hall and the Arts and Crafts Cottage. They all have like lots of little resources built everywhere. So I think today would be an excellent time now that we are wrapping up. Thanks, Bethany. The eyelash serum is currently on sale. Yeah, and so is my magical brush. This right here. This is $5.99 right now, which I'm getting myself another one. This is my favorite brush I own in my arsenal. This one, if you use eye concealer, if you use anything, and when you start getting older, concealers settle into lines. This is the most magical brush I own. I don't know how it is. The products don't cling to it. It moves things. You can press it. It's fantastic. I cannot say enough about it, but I linked it and it's on sale. Just saying. I will be surprised if you do not love it as much as you. You might be snuggling with it up on your pillow. So I focused a lot on skincare. It's my favorite part of my morning routine. It's another favorite part of my evening routine. I do not go to bed without doing all of those things, and I don't start my day without doing those things. They're a given that they're part of how I start in my day. There are other little steps, like I said, is building a ritual. So what I want your takeaway to be as you head out into camp and you go explore the campgrounds and go click around on things, go click. Remember I showed last night, headers on the website can often reveal extra information. It's like a hidden bookcase. If you click the camp map that says camp map, if you click that header, it reveals a whole list of everything and all the descriptions for every single space. So you have like an entire directory at your fingertips. Go click on things, go explore. But what I want you to take away from this session is, how can I build sweet little rituals into my camp experience? Where do I put something that makes it feel special on my Saturday morning or my Sunday morning? That shouldn't be, and remember, we're breaking out of the ordinary for the next 5 Saturdays, including today. The next 5 Sundays, we're breaking out of the ordinary because you're at camp. So camp should feel different. This little season of your life, you've entered into the camp zone. This is where you want to be different. This is where you're going to put more face masks on than you normally do during the year. This is like, do I like this? Maybe you're going to find a new brand of something that you like. You're going to try something new. Maybe I'm going to add a new step into my skincare routine. Now I'm going to spend some time researching, like, what's a great sunscreen that I'll like. Look at Korean sunscreens. Oh, my Lanta, that opened up a whole new world for me when I started looking at Korean sunscreens. They're not like ours. So there are so many things, in this little area. It's about nourishing your skin and caring for it. I'm not talking about beauty and makeup and all that and hiding anything. If that's, a philosophy very important to you, is you like being on natural, you do that. But caring for your skin, nourishing your skin, that's still an important part of taking care of your body. Like you would take care of your gut health or your brain or your heart. It's still an important part because it's doing all the heavy work out there. So sunscreen is an important part of that. Also, I forgot to mention, this is on my list of my favorites. This is the most fabulous hat. Most fabulous hat. I got one for my mom, my daughter, my mother-in-law. So this hat unrolls like a little burrito. Sorry, it rolls up like a burrito. It wraps around your head and it attaches with Velcro. Every time I go outside, I put this on. I put it on to go walk out to the road to get the mail. Put it on to walk out in the field. Anytime I go outside, I put this on. I put this on with my sunglasses. I always have a hat on, and it's fabulous. Be a fabulous lady with a sun hat. If you go outside, put your hat on. And the great thing is, it wraps around so it won't mess up your hair. And when you're done, you can roll it up like this cute little burrito. It's perfect for the pool, for camping, for just going to the farmer's market, going outside, just any little errand you have to do, just slap it on your head. And look how it wraps up really nice. You can, squeeze it and tuck it into your bag. It's perfection. It is not expensive. I can't remember the price, but it's not expensive. Another thing, really fast, another thing I put on there that I also am this is a holy grail product. I hate hand lotion. I hate it. And the reason why I find myself, that I was ever using it was for my cuticles. Cuticle oil is magical. It freshens up your manicure instantly so your nails look like fresh, even though it's been a few days, because your cuticles get dry from washing dishes, from being exposed. So when you make this part of like your evening step, like maybe it sits in your nightstand, um, putting a few little drops onto your little cuticles. This is what I do right before I go live, like because my hands are on camera. If I didn't have time to like do my nails, I always rub some cuticle oil into my cuticles. If you keep your cuticles moisturized, you do not need to have them clipped and like all the like little shaggy dry that they look. A lot of times when you go get your nails done, they're always clipping all of that. First of all, that apparently that's not supposed to happen. We're not supposed to have all of our things clipped because that's actually the area around your nail is actually supposed to be there. It's supposed to protect. The cuticles will not like start growing and get all gross if we're moisturizing and making them happy. So cuticle oil, magical. Makes your manicure look fresh and shiny and happy, and makes your little fingertips super glowy and healthy. So I recommend this over like a nail, unless you have really dry hands and that's part of your goal. But putting on some cuticle oil, fabulous. You can put a few drops into a bowl of warm water and give your little fingers a soak when from time to time when you do like you give your hands a little nail painting. But lovely. And this one, they have different fragrances, so I linked that one too. This one I have used this so much and it's still lasting me forever. So oh my gosh, Michelle Spencer says that's the best hat. Mrs. Her husband thinks it's funny looking, but she loves it. I love that you have that hat. We're twinsies. Yes, Annie, the hat it is linked. I did include it. Well, I'm glad, Mr. Camp Thunderhead Boy, that you are drinking water at least. Speaking of water, I just invested in this particular jug. It is enormous, right? Um, so the calculation for water, we used to be told that it was like 8 glasses of 8 ounces a day. So this is the new philosophy on water drinking. It is your weight divided in half. That is the amount of ounces you're supposed to drink every day. So it would behoove you, I guess, to lose weight if you really want to drink less water. So I lose track of how much water I drink, and I use a ton of ice. So it's really hard to tell, like, how much water did I drink? I can't use the, like, oh, I drank 5 cups. I refilled it 5 times, because with the ice in it, how can I know? So I got myself a water bottle that I know has a measurement on it. This was $9 at Walmart. This is on the fancy side. You could use a gallon jug, I suppose, but I wanted to be bougie. But this, you could sip directly out of it. I can't stand room temperature water. I like everything icy. But this was a way for me to try to get more water in my system, because I've been really bad at that lately. So thank you for reminding me, Chris, about water. This was the other thing I wanted to mention. That is what a lot of people do, is they'll buy a separate water container so that you can see where your water consumption actually is, and then you can use any cup you want to use and use ice in it, because this is what you're actually measuring every day. So I hope that helps you. All right. Now you may go forth out into the beautiful sunny day and go explore camp, enjoy yourself. I will be in back here in the Storyteller Studio for our next session at, I think it is 3 o'clock. I gave myself lots of time for the next session. Thank you very much. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, I will be back here for the Scrapbook Scout Storytelling Your Camp Adventure. So we're going to be talking about our beloved little Scrapbook Scout activity, our little project, and how do we tell stories when we are at a imaginary camp. I've got tricks. So I hope that you come back and join me for that if you're able to. But if not, it's okay, because replays. And don't forget, you have 5 glorious weeks to watch all of this content. Take your time. There is no rush. To watch all the stuff. And if you need to come back and watch it again, or watch parts you missed, you've got 5 weeks. You have 5 weeks to watch Kelly's awesome videos that she provided. So many fun videos, not just the setup, but then the extra workshops. She killed it for this camp. So there's all of that, and there's fun badge challenges. So just take your time, okay? No pressure, no stress. You can't make wrong decisions. You're at camp. Okay? I'll see you at 2 o'clock. I love your face. Go enjoy yourself. Mwah. Bye, everybody.